Nal Hutta has been part of Star Wars storytelling since 1991 when it first appeared in the comic Dark Empire, but we didn't see it on screen the way George Lucas envisioned it until the Clone Wars episode Hunt for Zero in 2010. Dave Filoni stated in a Clone Wars DVD featurette, George Lucas had some very specific ideas about Nal Hutta. He gave us some really rough sketches. There was to be this very swampy, these big pustule orbs sticking up where they would build their palaces. And that's exactly what we see on the planet in the handful of episodes that take us there. It's swampy, hot, humid, and just all around kind of gross. It's fitting for the Hutts. There were only a handful of spaceports on the planet like their capital city, Bilbausa, and then notable buildings like Gardula the Hutt's palace or Mama the Hutt's home were spread out across the boggy landscape. But what's interesting is that the Hutts and even Nal Hutta are becoming more and more prominent in the High Republic era of storytelling, and the planet seems very different. I think we're actually learning why Nal Hutta is such a mess. If you've been keeping up with High Republic content, I don't think the reason will be any surprise to you, but in case you haven't, I'll give you a quick summary. 200 years or so before the events of the films, the Jedi Order encounters a mysterious space station covered in plant life. There, they discover 4 ancient Sith statues that they feel warrant some investigation back at the temple on Coruscant, so they remove them. They discovered those statues were actually keeping a species of fast-spreading carnivorous plants in hibernation, and by removing the statues, they allowed the plants to wake back up. So these creatures, called the Drengir, begin spreading across the Outer Rim again, eating anyone they come in contact with, ruining entire worlds. As the Jedi work to stop the Drengir, they venture into Hutt territory, which catches the angry attention of Mayarga the Hutt, who at first attacks, but it's not long before the Jedi are able to prove that even Nal Hutta is a victim of the Drengir, and so the Jedi and the Hutts enter into a fragile and politically controversial alliance. The Jedi travel to Nal Hutta to discuss their cooperation, and we see this in an issue of the High Republic Adventures. I think it's kinda difficult to tell what the planet looks like in the art, but in my opinion, I would argue that it looks more like a desert than a swamp, which also makes sense for the Hutts given that Tatooine and Jakku both had notable Hutts controlling them at certain points. The latest High Republic novel, The Rising Storm, also has a line about the Drengir, saying, "Tales of infestation spread as fast as the monsters themselves, whispered in hushed tones in 1,000 watering holes or huddled around campfires." Entire worlds were said to have been lost to the Drengir blight, settlements strangled by their barbed vines, and populations consumed. Nothing seemed able to stop them once an infestation had taken root. Even the Hutts were said to have suffered, the teeming metropolises of Nal Hutta all but transformed into seething jungles. Really? Teeming metropolises? When have we ever seen that on Nal Hutta? I think The Rising Storm makes it pretty clear that Nal Hutta was once a much more hospitable planet. Maybe not the nicest place to live, but still not the swampy mess we see in the Clone Wars. The line about planets being strangled by vines really stood out to me because I think it matches what we see animated on screen. I think we are being led to believe that the gross, swampy, vine-covered landscape of Nal Hutta is the result of a Drengir infestation. Compare Bilbausa in the show to what we see in the comics, and it is a stark contrast. Obviously, we know the Drengir will be defeated over the course of this story, but it's also clear that they can do some real, lasting damage to a planet. But for now, that's just a theory, so what do you think of it? Am I onto something or not? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.